place of men. Yeah, the place of men in marriage. What is their role? And I think, Ndili, you can, yes, you are the man in the house. So try to tell us what do you expect?
Probably before I go to the role of a man and expectations, parenting is an ingredient in marriage. And true, a wife plays a critical role, but a man should not be left behind. A man should not run away from the parenting responsibility. When we were growing up, very many times you would hear mother say, when your father comes, I'm going to tell. That is likely to paint the woman as either irresponsible or incapable of handling a role, or rather a man as not just the king we are talking about, but one who is a monster. You see? And the children now have a picture of a father who is a bad man, who terrorize, and that is the wrong picture. A family should be built on a lot of love and compassion. So I feel in terms of parenting, there are many roles that a man should also assist the woman, even when the children are young and even as they grow. And that will still come in when I discuss about the role of a man. And that could set off us now to the next phase, which is the role of a man. In a marriage, and the manner in which the Bible brings up a man is that a man should be the provider to the family. The role of provision is very, very wide. But, and even this role of provision has been abused in the changing times, because a man might lack as well. But when you say a man should be a provider, my view is that a man should have an anchor. A man should always be inched towards making sure that there is sufficiency within the family setup. And when you talk about sufficiency, we are talking about if it's a matter regarding food, a man is seen or provides or is seen concerned about where they get food. If it's about shopping, if it's about provision of fees, if it's about the provision of material aspects of the family, a man should talk. We don't want this discussion to sound all perfect, but it is important to look at when we say a man is a provider. Do we mean that the man will never lack? For example, if he is working and he is sacked, does the provision role end? Or does the man now get finished because he was working, he had a job that would sustain the family, and it's normal? No. It is important for us now to discuss the scenarios around provision. One, if a man is working, whether formally or informally, the man should always show concern in terms of making sure that the family is well sustained and provided for, materially and financially. And when I talk about the basic thing is concern for me. Have my family fed? Has my wife, has the basic provisions? Do we have the basic needs? Clothing, shelter? Have our children or has my child acquired education, and for that matter, quality education? That concern. Then the hard-working nature. The man must always remain hardworking so that he brings forth some provision for the family. A wife could be working, but a man should always show total concern as to the direction of provision. And provision is this wide. We could be talking about provision of basic needs, provision of future needs. If it's about investing, a man should be very conscious, should intentionally be conscious. Where will my family be in the next 10 years? Strategically, a man should be seen concerned. But the moment they leave out that seat, the moment that concern is not there, many times women try to save their families by assuming that position. And when they assume that position, the order ordained by God changes. And that is where a man will feel belittled, a man will lose confidence, and there's going to be small troubles within the family setup. And that is where the woman will be able to say, I am the one who did this. But I believe where the man is consciously trying to provide, even when he has insufficient, the woman will come in and will make sure that the man owns even that which belongs to the woman. Sure.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Gitau, you can add on something?
Making all the effort. Maybe he's just bringing little, that's not enough. And maybe yours is more, you could be the sole breadwinner. Because there are cases even where maybe the man is incapacitated. He is not able because of health issues. The wife shouldn't feel like now she's the one doing everything. Feel like now because she has taken over that particular aspect of the marriage, now she's the leader of everything. Of course, it's going to bring trouble in the marriage. Like he has said, the man will get insecure, which is just a natural response.
Sure.
Yes. And then you're going to have issues in that marriage that could even end up breaking. So I feel even as the woman assumes the role, she should also understand her place. Don't make the man feel demeaned. Then the man should also now make effort. If you lose your job, it's not the end of the world. There are other means you can use to get food on the table, to make the family feel provided for. Yes.
Wow. Any other role of a man?
I feel the role of protection.
Yes.
Men are physically strong and very muscular. For that reason alone, physical protection is purely on the man. I know there are women that go for self-defense training and all that. Maybe when the man is not around. But as long as the man is present, that falls to him. If there is an attack from another person, a different person, from even an animal, if there's a snake in the house, I mean, I know we have phobias, but the man can overcome that and be seen offering that physical protection. The woman feels secure if she can see the man can give that physical protection. The other kind of protection, I feel, the woman should also be protected by the man from outsiders. Outsiders, third parties, from family. The family can take advantage of the woman. So it's in the place of the man to ensure that the woman is protected, the wife is protected. There are some places where, we are in Africa, and maybe the woman is expected to do so much. Some communities believe the wife is a community product. She's supposed to show up in every community event and, work herself off like a donkey. It's now the place of the man to ensure the wife is protected from abuse from the community.
I want to talk about men. In all the roles that we are going to discuss, there is something we call escapism, where a man, many times they want to run away. They want to run away from their roles, responsibilities. And then they will claim that it is because of the woman. The woman is behaving like this. The woman is. We are saying for a man, if a man accepted to play his roles properly, if he understood his position, then he is not going to run, into escape, or he is not going to resort to escapism. I am talking about the first point, the point of a provider and the point of a protector. There should not get to a point whereby a man will escape and begin saying, I will not continue providing because the woman in the house. No, it is important for a man to assume his position. The moment he assumes his position as a provider, the issues around escapism will not come in. As a protector, enforcing on what Madam Gitao said, in our tribe, we normally say a woman should stand on the left, so that when you put him to the left, you can be able to defend her, with the right, because you are playing the role of a protector. And a strong point around the role of a man as a protector, even within the family setup. Because in many of our cultures, a woman is likely to be abused in the pretext of our culture demands, and our culture demands this or the other. There is no way we are going to accept that a woman is a community commodity. Simply because there was a Modoko, which was community-based. I don't find that one proper, and therefore a woman should now submit to every other man within our family or my family lineage. I don't believe that is the right way to go, because we are in the wave of light, and women know that I am married to so and so, and therefore I should submit to so and so. The other family issues should barely be collaborative, barely be a matter of give and take, and therefore a wife can very easily suffer in such cultural practices, where my cousin will demand some unreasonable demands simply because she is ours, or she has been married to our family. Therefore, a man should understand very well that he should protect this woman, this wife that he loves, so that she's not abused by his family left, right, and center. There are so many other forces that a woman will be vulnerable to, and a man should be there to see that I am the protector. Religiously, a man, moving to another role, if you allow me, a man should come in as the priest of the family. This a point that can very easily be ignored. But the religious aspect, the religious factor in our family is a critical factor in marriage success. Why? Because in religion, in becoming a priest, that is where we are going to talk about the values that the family holds. Today, our society has become, morally torn. Why? Because right from the family, a man has not played his role of inculcating the right values, which are definitely the priestly roles that a man should play for his family. And therefore, I'm looking at a man who will instill values like honesty, values like hard working, values like, incorruptible nature. And that can come from a man. And currently, the kind of generation that we have requires a man who is creative to ensure that he brings on board some of these values in very illustrative ways. As a priest, you want to find out if your daughter or son knows how to pray. As a priest, you also want to know whether your wife believes in this religion that many women seem to proclaim. As a man, you need to ensure that you guide on issues where we go to worship, the place of worship, the sound religious values. So beginning from committed values of Christianity, whether you are Christian or not, there is a role that a man ought to play. I'm looking, for example, for an instance of a man who is, let's say, not Christian, one who does not go to church. I want to tell you for free that there is no man who will want his family to remain wayward. No man will want to have a wife who is morally uncontrollable. So what are we saying? That man will want a wife who is submissive, a woman who fears God, children who fear God, and one way or the other, a man, whether in church or not, must realize there is a priestly role that he must play, ensuring that children go to church, go to Sunday school, they have sandaka, they understand God. I think that is the joy of every man, and that is why I'm saying whether you go to church, a man, whether you don't go to church, you man, please ensure that there are religious values followed within that family. And those religious values are going to build that family in a miraculous way. Then from there, you want to begin seeing your children who are not stealing from you, and who are not stealing from the neighbors, who are not stealing from anybody, meaning you have imparted the value of honesty, truth. We have corruption, which has become a pandemic in our country. How do we stem it? It should begin from the man in the house by ensuring that you discuss with your children. And it can be very illustrative. Over evening, you can place or you can create scenarios. If you go to a man who asks the children, if you go to the shop and the shop attendant gives you excess change, what should you do? I mean, it can be event-based. In the wave of technology, A man should be able to see how he engages the children. Of course, we have those monitors. We have the controls. Your child could be having a phone, and you could have a parental control over the phone. You could leave out the control, or you could leave out the control and see how will the child behave responsibly. I think that is the role of a man, to impart such issues, to ensure that whether there is control or there is no technology control, how has the child matured to that level that as a man you feel that you are developing a family. And as I said, evaluation is very important. You need to evaluate as a man. How have I played the role of a priest, a guide, one who can even foresee danger in children and try to avert it? Yeah, that is part of what I think I can say about the role of priest.
Mm.
Yes.
Wow, that is a very amazing conversation, and as we are still moving on, as we conclude, maybe Gitau, you have another point? You think maybe there's another role?
The other role that I had in mind is in connection to the values that he spoke about. And I feel that values form part of identity. And identity is very, very important. Identity is given by a father. Right from when the wife gets married, she adopts the name of the husband. When children come along, they take up the name of the father. And not just the name, because this is something that is generational. And you find that when even children are growing up, there are some comments that pass around the home that, in this home we don't do this. In this home, this is what we do. That is part of identity, such that when somebody grows up, you will hear them saying, I was raised like this, I was raised like that. That forms part of the identity of the children. And I think identity crisis is one of the issues that many people are dealing with, not just in adolescence, but even way past adolescence. People really take time to discover who they really are. And as a father, I think the man should be very intentional about the kind of identity boys to associate with. How would you want them to be known? Whom do you want them to be known as, and for what? I feel that is a role that is highly to be, especially in our African setup. Most of our children get identity from outside. And then we start now dealing with the results. The child comes home, he's a boy, he has pierced the ears, and you're wondering, who told you to do that? I think that should be plainly stated from the very beginning. Because when the child knows who they are, who their father is, who their mother is, what will make them happy, I believe they will follow in that line. And they will not struggle with these issues of identity. So for the man, I think identity is key. No, and it begins from knowing yourself as a man, know who you are, what you stand for. Then now you will pass it over to your generation. Yes.
Anything to add?
Could be to say, kuna msemo usema boss hapendi. And therefore, it is also important for the children to know what identity to carry and what identity they cannot carry. And this direction can only come from especially the father. But it is really a role that should be played by both parents. Yes. Yes.
Any other role of man that we've left? I don't want us to leave anything. Okay. And now, before you give a parting shot, you are married. Everyone here is married, yes? Madam Gitau, how do you solve conflicts in your marriage?
Resolving conflicts, I'd say communication plays a huge role. Understanding each other. We have different personalities, different temperaments. If you learn the other person, it's easier to deal with conflict. You need to understand how your partner reacts when they get angry. If probably they are the people that keep quiet stone wall, you need to learn how to go around it, get them to open up and communicate. If they're the kind that get so angry and talk a lot, you know how to calm down this person so that you can get to a level where you can communicate in a sound way and get to understand. But with conflict, I think the earlier you solve it, the better, because the more you keep things unresolved, a molehill will just become a mountain within a very short time. Other issues are going to arise, and then you're going to be dealing with something very huge. Then I also believe in solving the problem from the root cause, not the branches. So if we are not in good terms, why are we not in good terms? You raised your voice at me. So let's get to why did you raise your voice? Let's deal with that. Yes, because sometimes the issues we solve are not really the real thing. There is an underlying issue that you're not talking about. So it's very important that you communicate, deal with the problem from the root, and then avoid escapism. He spoke about escapism.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Yes, some people, when there is a problem, you want to just hide, your head under the sand. The problem you will still find it when you come back. Yeah. And I know sometimes if you don't solve a problem now, it goes ahead. Sometimes when you just sweep things under the carpet, you find the problem ahead waiting for you until the day you solve it. Yes. So the earlier you solve it, the better. Yes, so communicate, keep communication lines open, and understand the other person. Yes, if they don't like solving an issue at the heat of anger, let them cool down first. Yes, so reason with the other person, then also accept your mistakes. I know this is an issue that sometimes accepting mistakes is we want the other person to be the bad one. So you should also look at, what role did you play in this conflict? So as you also correct the other person, you also check yourself. Let everybody learn to admit their mistakes. That way it's easy now to even swallow your pride. Then forgive. In marriage, if you don't forgive, you are headed the wrong direction. You're going to forgive. Sometimes you even learn to forgive things that haven't been done for the sake of peace. You just decide, okay, the way I am seeing things going, there is likely to be some trouble here, but let me just let it pass, Yeah, so forgiveness also is very important in marriage to help in resolving conflicts.
Wow.
Yes.
Lily, we are here now.
Yeah,
How do you resolve conflicts?
I think she has been very, very elaborate. Communication, understanding one another, and forgiveness. I think all I can add is when a conflict happens, it is important to be sincere. And therefore, I consider sincerity and adaptability as major ingredients in resolving the conflicts that arise. What I mean by sincerity is, out of the communication, if you have actually done a wrong, come out and say, it's true, I did this, mistakenly or knowingly, and therefore ask for forgiveness. And that really, really cools the temper so fast. Adapting. By adapting, I don't mean that you get into the wave of the conflict. I mean, look at the best way in approaching the situation that has led to the conflict. I mean, don't just hold to that. You must say I'm sorry. If you don't say, you must raise up your hands. I mean, and kneel down. Yes, and say I am your husband, and say you are my wife. You see, it is proper to be adaptable, such that if it was something small and you blew it out of proportion, you adapt and you come back very fast. I also felt there is constant communication about the scenarios that are likely to bring the conflicts. There are scenarios, and you know them. You can sit down oftenly with one can sit down oftenly with the spouse, and they discuss deliberately what are some of the things that are likely to cause or to lead us to conflict. You could even sample and note them down, and then say, why don't we avoid them? I mean, you take a deliberate approach. So I'm looking at one way of solving the conflict is by even trying to get worry, being aware of some of the common issues that are likely to cause or to lead you into a conflict, then discuss early enough. Why don't we stop? Why don't we leave? Why don't we avoid them? Okay? Yeah. Why don't we, for example, if it's infidelity, why don't you tell me where I need to up my game if you must go out because of 1, 2, 3 things? If it's about my cooking mannerisms, yeah, why don't we even pre-talk and say, please do it this way? And that conflicts at times emerge from nowhere, from very, very small things. So it's important to deliberately see the small things. You see, the Bible talks about the small foxes that destroy that plunder the vineyard. I believe when this wise man is talking about the small foxes, I believe he is talking about the small negligible things that are likely to affect our marriage. As small as the smallest, let us look at it and begin preparing to say no to such. Yes, that is part of what I feel I should say.
And so guys, I hope you're still with us. You're still watching, commenting and liking. It has been a beautiful show, and they have nuggets of wisdom, and they have really shared with us. And as we conclude, I think it's good if you have a parting shot for my viewers, you can give them anything. You can, even if it's to subscribe to the show, tell them anything.
Mine is, we have been talking about the place of a man and a woman in a marriage. I feel marriage is, or family is the basest unit that makes up a society. And for a marriage to be successful, I am urging my viewers to deliberately make effort, because I decided to get married to my wife, and my wife decided to get married to me. It is important that we make deliberate effort, and for that matter, a lot of effort to ensure that we make it work. And when we do it this way, the unit which is the most basic, family, will stand, and the society will also stand. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Mine is, we've really learnt a lot during this show, and I believe marriage is ordained by God, and we should stay in the order of God. There is actually a hierarchy of the same. So there is nothing wrong with submitting as a woman. Actually, a woman that is well submitted has a covering, even by God. So stay in your position, stay in your lane. There is nothing as tragic as failing, succeeding in the wrong assignment. So everybody should stick to the assignment and succeed at it. Because should you succeed at the wrong assignment, you have just wasted your time, your energy, and everything. And then I believe that marriage prepares us. Marriage, in a way, is the analogy given about the relationship we have with God. You know, Jesus and the church is the bride. So if you're in marriage, you're actually being molded to be the version that God wants you to be, even for his own sake. So we should all have that in mind, that marriage is molding us to be the best version that God intended us to be. Thank you.
Wow. And so, as I always say, that marriage with God works. Let us continue working for our marriages. Continue subscribing, liking, sharing, and commenting as we grow together. Thank you so much.